The sky this week feels quieter, calmer, a little bit more spacious, like an exhale after holding our breath. We've got a lot of planets retrograde: Mercury, Uranus, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, and as of November 11th, Jupiter as well. With so many planets turning retrograde at once, the energy is really calling us inward. It's asking us to slow down. Right now, it's like there's no huge cosmic push or breaking cosmic news. It's like a pause, and we're just being asked to learn how to rest in it. Now, as we're resting in it, and I'm going to go through some of the cards that I pulled for this week, as we're resting in it, it feels like we are going to be active in a different way. It feels like our emotions are going to be quite active because the themes that I pulled up for this week are actually all water tarot cards. So the work is more inward, right? That work is really important too. We forget about that sometimes. But I'll share with you guys the cards that I got for this week and what's been coming up for me energetically and in my own personal life. But this theme keeps coming up: reflection, reconnection, and revisiting the past, right? We know retrogrades are retrieval missions. They're also times of refining and remembering all of the words, reorganizing. And this one particularly, at least for this week, really feels like revisiting the past, revisiting childhood, reconnecting to old parts of ourselves. Now, the video that I was actually going to put out today, I ended up pushing it back. It was a little bit more of a deep dive, and it just felt like this video, I wanted it to be something a little bit more shorter and connective, but it's going to touch on this theme of reconnecting to old parts of ourselves and why that's so important. But right now, the energy feels a little bit lighter. And I love this because, it's Mercury retrograde. I'm doing my Mercury retrograde rewire. I'm talking more about that over on Substack as well. And I'll have the link for my Substack in the description. And reclaiming our rhythm is the theme for this Mercury retrograde rewire. We're rewiring this theme that our rhythm has to look a certain way. And the cards perfectly mirror that this week. So let me just get into the cards and then we'll talk a little bit more about this. The cards that I pulled for this week were the Six of Cups, and the Two of Cups. And then the obstacle was the Queen of Wands, and the outcomes were the Sun and Temperance, so two major arcanas. And as I was getting these cards back out from my previous reading, the King of Cups also fell out, and so another cup card. This really feels like the energy that my next video, which is a part of my illness as initiation video, is going to be about. But the King of Cups is more like learning how to sit with our emotions, allow them, but not let them overtake us, and how we can do that. So it's very interesting that came out because that's so much like the video that I was talking about. But the Two of Cups and Six of Cups, there's something about connection and connecting to our past in some way, in a new way. And with all these planets in retrograde, it really does feel like the perfect time to be doing this slowing down, integration, and rest, which can be like the best alignment that we can honor at certain times in our lives, especially when the cosmos are giving us this pause. The Queen of Wands coming up as an obstacle is, again, kind of echoing what the retrograde energy is saying, which is don't push. Don't try to pretend. Don't, the Queen of Wands, I actually love this card, but in this scenario, as the obstacle, it's like, she's extroverted, she's charismatic, she's going out there and getting things done, she's taking leadership. And right now, we may not be able to do some of those things. Maybe you're noticing like projects aren't going as planned, or things are just taking longer than they naturally would. And this is all a part of this reconnection that's wanting to happen, especially to something from childhood. I can't stress how often that's coming up, even for myself. And we'll talk about this a little bit more after we discuss the cards here about how I think that might be showing up for a lot of us and why it's so important. But the Queen of Wands reminds us not to overextend ourselves, not to feel like we do need to go out there and like act or perform or be in these roles that we always need to be in. It's like, can we put down the mask, if only for a few days? Can we say, yeah, I'm actually really tired, or I just don't feel like showing up today? I can't smile at everybody's, jokes or try to make them feel a certain way. Can I just sit in my sadness? Can I sit in my stillness? And what ultimately these are saying to me as the outcome, the temperance and the sun, is like, when we do this, we reclaim our natural balance. And that is so beautiful, right? Our balance of living in creation with the cosmos. I'm sorry, I have to shameless plug to my workshop, Co-Creating the Cosmos, which isn't even I don't even have anything, ready to sell it yet, but it just comes up. It's like, this is alchemy. This is a card of alchemy. When we are integrating two separate ideas or things, and it feels like you're revisiting something from your past or childhood, you're bringing it up and integrating it so that it can balance out your current situation. And what ultimately this does is actually bring more vitality, more success and joy and radiance into your life. You bring back something that was lost because of survival, or because, it had to be repressed, so that, yeah, it's really all survival, but it feels quite pure. It feels quite beautiful. In the full moon and Taurus video, I actually got the Six of Cups and the Sun. So that's very interesting. Or maybe I did. I got both of them. So this is a theme that is reverberating in the skies. And when we have a full moon, it's not just that day, right? It's a 6-month cycle, but we feel that energy for even 2-3 weeks after. They're happening with other things, but they're also reverberating under the surface as other things become more imminent, other transits become more imminent. But yeah, it's like, when we learn to slow down and reconnect to something, to our own rhythm, reclaim our own rhythm, we find the harmony and the light. It's like we are restoring our rhythm in a way that feels more authentic to us. So this is what I'm thinking of for this week. If you need to pull back, pull back. I want you to think about your childhood. Maybe there was a moment, a memory, a dream, a creative spark that you once had that has been buried under responsibility and, life, that is asking to come back through you right now. I want you to tell me in the comments down below, is there something that comes to mind when you think about an old hobby, something that you used to love that has kind of left your world but is now coming up again, and something that made you feel alive, that brought that sense of imagination into your world? You don't even have to act on it right now. You don't have to do anything with it. It's just asking for a reconnection. And maybe it just wants to be seen again, but this time with softer eyes. Maybe it just wants to be a seed that's planted in your awareness. And I'd love to see if there's anything that wants to come through with the tarot. I think for a lot of you guys, you may be unhappy in your financial world right now. Maybe you're not connecting to the way that you make money. Maybe you are feeling disconnected with your career or your material world. This is very Queen of Wands energy, which is yeah, life is good. I've got it all together. I've got a career. I've got this house. I've got, family. And things are good. But you know what I also love about the Queen of Wands is, her black cat here, she's actually quite witchy and intuitive. But yeah, it feels like maybe we've lost connection with the creative spark within ourselves that is now manifesting in the material world as a dissatisfaction with your material life. Money, career often come up here. Those are the two things that come up the most for me with Ace of Pentacles, and I really don't want to get any more cards because I really want to keep this simple. Something about your current material manifestation is struggling because of a part of you that has been lost, that is yearning for reconnection and to be witnessed. As I'm talking about this, it's really making me feel like I want to put out my video that I pushed back to next week sooner, because often we have to go through pain to touch that joy again. And when we can't sit with the pain, we can't sit with the joy either. They sit on a spectrum. So when we only have so much capacity, we can only sit with so much pain, so much joy. We increase our capacity to sit with pain, we increase our capacity to sit with joy. Okay, so if you guys want this video sooner, I'll gauge it by the comments below. Let me know if you guys want it sooner. It's another part of my series, Illness as Initiation, and how to reconnect to yourself, how to reconnect to your pain. Let me know. And I wanted to make this video really short, and I don't think it's super short. Yeah, okay, not very short. But I also just want to do one last thing, and then we'll end it, and we will just, reflect and integrate. I have my Gene Key book here. I have a book list, by the way, in my description, if you guys are wondering like what books I use and yeah, those things. I just want to pick a Gene Key that will be helpful for us. Oh, amazing. The 16th Gene Key. How funny. You know why? Because the gift the gift is versatility, but what Gene Key 16 is my sun gate is all about in human design and Gene Keys, which is a synthesis of astrology and a bunch of other things. It's just a different system. The word that comes up with this gate in Gene Key is enthusiasm. 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 What brought you enthusiasm in your life in the past? Please let me know. I'm really curious about this. At the shadow frequency, one of the most powerful and pervasive forces that keeps you from perceiving a higher reality is indifference. This is the key to the 16th shadow, which concerns the very human fear of leaving your comfort zone and fully embracing change in your life. To prosper truly in the world is to find the one thing in life in which you excel above all others. This is the true destiny of every human being. But to bring this dream to fruition, you must first step out of the shadow and take the risk of being different. Indifference is an energy field that gets you to focus your precious time and life force on the inessential. The inessential in this context is anything that takes your attention away from the present moment and its limitless potential. The vast majority of the world lives in poverty while a select few thrive. This is a testament to the power of the 16th shadow, which sucks all the life out of the world. Because human beings are not willing to stand up and be different, they become willing to sit by the side of life and observe. In social psychology, this common human pattern is known as a diffusion of responsibility and refers to the human preponderance to look away when confronted by another in distress, often when there are a number. One moment, please. Of other people in the same vicinity. Indifference is an energy field created by all the human beings on this planet who are not doing what they would really love to be doing. This is, I mean, I'm biased because, as I said, this is my sun gate in human design, and your sun gate, your conscious sun, is probably the most important placement in your human design body graph. If you don't have your body graph, you can get it on my website. The link is in the description. And so gate 16 is mine, actually. And so I have a lot to say about this, and I won't go too deep into it. But ultimately, the gift of this is versatility. And versatility is, you know, in the shadow, it said something about doing the one thing you really love. But what we learn in the 16th gene key, I'm actually going to find it because Richard Rudd, he just says things so nicely, you know. He says a true genius rarely restricts himself or herself to a single branch because that would limit their gift. The versatility is not a skill, it's a state of frequency that can use a skill without being fully identified by it. This is actually one of the reasons why I struggle so hard with like identifying myself as like an astrologer or whatever, because as you guys know, I blend so many different modalities, and I don't like being identified through astrology, right? Because what I do is not just astrology. What I do is not just tarot. It's like a blend of things. You know, how do you say that? But how do you like package that into one word and one, you know, one label? But yeah, this is really beautiful because actually in that video, that's so funny that I didn't put out today. I talked about this. I talked about how we don't have to look away from pain in order to heal. It's actually quite the opposite. You know, mention all the poverty in the world and what keeps people there. And a lot of this is this indifference. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier about how in our childhood, we had these things that we loved, and then we got really responsible and we became really indifferent, and we decided to just blend in rather than stand out and be our unique selves. So my invitation to you once again, and I'd love to know in the comments down below, is there something that's coming up from your childhood, some sort of creative spark that's been lost, that is waiting for you to see it again? Thank you so much for being here. I will have a new moon video out for the new moon in Scorpio, as well as the other video. Again, if you guys want that, let me know in the comments below. If you want it sooner, we'll see. And I hope that you have a beautiful, quiet, cosmic week, and that you learn to rest in this pause. I'll see you next time.